What you spend years building, someone could destroy overnight. Build anyway. If you find serenity and happiness, they may be jealous. Be happy anyway. You see, in the final analysis, it is between you and God.
That's deep. Speak on it. Speak on it.
Now that was from a talented young artist called Mother Teresa.
Oh.
So I will be expecting some more stuff from her.
One of these new mumble rappers.
So from the she's one of these new hipster mumblecore rappers.
That maybe I need to come up with a mother name, like Mother Neville. Maybe that's the new Lil.
Yeah.
Nevs.
So that quote is a quote from a calendar which is sitting at one of my works, and it's got a quote every day, and a lot of them are quite religious, in a bad way. But this one...
Are your bosses religious?
No, I think it's one of my co-workers.
Oh, so it's a co-worker and they're putting it up in a communal place.
Well, it's the calendar on their desk, which I also...
Oh, it's on their desk.
I happen to occupy.
It's
so
not really...
You
share a desk with
share
them.
a desk.
And you're a victim of their religious propaganda.
I am. And man, this one struck me.
Yeah.
Because I was like, come on, you spend years building something. It's a metaphor for the film industry.
Right.
Because you spend years building, someone could destroy it overnight.
Yeah.
The critics.
Yeah.
Build it anyway.
Yeah.
And if you find serenity and happiness, they might not like that. You know? Because you don't care what the critics think. You don't care what people think. You did it for you, man. Be happy anyway. And in the final analysis, when you die, well, that's between you and God.
Yeah. Now, I thought this was going to be one of those situations where you now burst into a violent rage saying about how stupid that is. Which is the pattern with your inspirational quotes.
No, well, yes, but to me, this is actually a really good one. That's why I took the...
So you're really serious. You actually really like Mother Teresa's
I think that all of that works for me.
Okay.
And to me, in the final analysis is between you and God, well, to me, it's between you and and nothingness, whatever the final hereafter is.
Yeah.
And that's where, when you come to the end of it, it's, that's what you did.
Right. Okay.
So I'm all for that quote.
Yeah.
And there's a lot to be taken from that. So I hope it helps the sexy 160.
Yep.
Is that what
that's the current
calling them now? So the 60 ones sexual.
The sexy 160. Come on, get it right. The sexy 160. That's good.
So
the sexy 160.
That's good stuff.
Yeah.
So that I just thought that quote hit me. But since we're speaking of my job,
yeah,
maybe this should be the first topic.
All right. Well, my name's Harley Neville.
And I'm Guy Pigden.
Yeah.
And welcome along to the Guy and Harley podcast.
Welcome along to the Guy and Harley podcast. I heard that Mother Teresa has some quotes about suffering that are less
ambiguous.
Well, more like benevolent or less benevolent. Where she's like, yeah, well, suffering is part of your lot for being poor and stuff like that. So like we could help you guys, you poor people, because we're getting millions of dollars from all around the world, and we could easily turn these third world kind of shithole hospitals into like something a bit better. But we believe that suffering is part of your burden, and it's part of God's plan.
It's between you and God.
It's between you and God. Your suffering is between you and God. So suck it up, sucker.
Well, there was a bit in this quote where it went ... which often means they've cut some stuff out. Like that bit that maybe didn't read so well.
No. Yeah.
So they decided to take that out.
Yeah.
So, the book is still out on Mother Teresa. Saint or serpent?
Oh, I like that.
Is she a saint? What happens when you get blessed up to a certain level?
Yeah, you become a saint. But I don't
when you hit level 99,
sanctified.
Right.
She hasn't been. I don't think she's been sanctified. I think it's too soon.
When you get to level 99,
it's too soon. You've got to be
on the prayers.
Yeah.
You get sainthood.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not sure if she's got her 99 hit points up yet, but
She'll get there. She'll get there.
We'll look into that.
Yeah, she'll get there if we don't expose her first. So it's important to spread the word about how horrible she was.
So speaking of my job, the job where this quote actually came from was my monitoring job.
Yeah.
Where I do alarm monitoring. Alarms come in, I call people up and I say something, hey, your alarm's gone off or whatever. And we've talked about this job a few times. I've had some altercations, which people may recall.
I do recall you suplexing a man off the desk one time.
Yep.
You picked up one of your colleagues and suplexed him off the desk.
And I had
and got a formal warning of some description.
I got a formal warning for something else when I missed an alarm, which was a confirmed break-in.
Yeah.
And they basically wanted to know who was that? Who was the culprit?
Yeah. Well, that's a pretty massive fuck up.
It is. It absolutely is.
Yeah.
It's almost unforgivable.
Yeah.
And yet here I sit.
Yeah. Forgiven.
Forgiven. And in fact, that was when I had my disciplinary, but their disciplinary process was so disorganized that they withdrew the disciplinary.
Because they couldn't be fucked figuring it out.
Because basically they're like, if we maintain this disciplinary, we will look bad because we haven't followed the correct disciplinary procedures.
Yeah.
So I got away with that one. And yeah, there was the time that I had an altercation with a co-worker, and I suplexed him off the desk, or I was on the verge of, but I, when he called me, told me to shut the fuck up or something.
Yeah.
Something that wound me up.
Yeah. You never tell Guy to shut the fuck up. That's the one thing you never do.
Like, you can do anything else.
But if you do that, he just hulks up and he will suplex you off a table.
You could, like, trip me over and, like, take a little piss on me. I'll be like, hey, bro, what are you pissing on me for? Stop it. It's silly. You're being silly. But if you tell me to shut the fuck up, oh boy,
you better back up.
So anyway, this job is the job that I've had for, wait for this, 7.5 years.
Yeah.
7.5 years. Okay? I was in my 20s when I started this job.
Yeah, now you're entering your late 30s.
And so I've never stayed at a job longer than this job.
Yeah.
This job has been my bread and butter for a very long time.
Yeah.
Not so much in the last couple of years. And I finally bit the bullet.
Yeah.
I bit the big one.
Yeah.
Bit into the big one. And I said to them, hey, here's my resignation.
Yeah.
Turned in my resignation. 7.5 years.
Mm.
Now, why did I turn in my resignation after 7.5 years, you might be asking? Well, the answer is many reasons. One of which is that my other jobs pay me over twice as much as this job.
Yeah.
This job pays me, let's get personal here on the podcast.
Okay.
This job pays me $18 an hour.
Yeah, that's really bad.
Like, and not only has it paid me $18 an hour,
yeah,
it's paid me $18 an hour for the last 6 of the 7.5 years. Maybe the last 7.
Yeah.
Okay? That's how long I've been on that pay rate.
Yeah. That reflects as badly on you as it does on them.
Well, I'm getting to that.
Yeah. Okay.
So why, you ask, would anyone in their right mind do a job for that long paying that little?
Yeah.
And, you know, the first answer, of course, is rent's due, bro.
Well, I thought the first answer really is that it was a job, you fell into a rut, and the rut was that it allowed you to work on filmmaking related stuff in the evenings. And so you were locked into that job because of your passion for filmmaking, because it allowed you to get things done that needed to be done that you didn't have time for, like during the day, that you could do at 3 a.m. when you're doing an overnight security job.
It also meant that I could work essentially 40 hours more on my filmmaking while doing another job.
Yeah.
So yes, actually that's the answer. Thank you, Harley, for fucking spoiling my little spiel.
I'm sorry, Gary. I was just getting you there quicker. No. Why? What was that? The punchline?
No. So anyway, you know, essentially
you do that to me sometimes.
I know I do. So I've been at this job, I finally resigned, and it was, you know, quite a moment, because to me it's been 7.5 years, but I've outlasted almost the entire staff
Yeah, so you're
there.
the granddaddy.
Some people have left and come back.
And you're still there.
Four
Like a stone.
5 managers have come through.
Yeah.
So when I handed in my notice, it was this monumental moment because it meant essentially that my life circumstances and the things that I'd worked towards had created a situation where I could quit this terrible fucking job.
Yeah.
Which I'd been doing for this long solely for
good.
my filmmaking, and it is good. But I was like, so I'm handing in my notice, and he was like, "Cool, thanks." And I was like, "Yeah, cool."
Yeah.
But for me, it was this huge thing, this life-changing event, and for him, he's like, "Yeah, sweet."
Okay, well, I feel your pain, but are they going to have some sort of leaving drinks for you?
No, that's the thing. They're going to have nothing.
Because they didn't have any leaving drinks when I left my job either. You know what? It's possible that you and I are just hated fucking assholes. And everybody at our works hates us.
Bare minimum. The bare minimum boys.
That's the bare minimum boys. That's
what they call us. So that's why you know that there's not. But to be honest, I'm actually one of the better people there at the moment.
I'm one of the better bottom dwelling bare minimum boys.
I'm one of the better mouth breathers. No, I am one of the better ones because essentially they've had such a high turnover of staff that essentially I'm the freaking guru.
Yeah, well, you've trained everybody.
And so, you know, it's rare that I make mistakes like, you know, someone like, you know, that situation that we talked about with that disciplinary that I did make a mistake on. But I've only done that once in 7.5 years.
Yeah.
I like those odds. Think how many alarms come through.
That's good.
Think how many alarms come through per day. Hundreds, right? Hundreds over 7.5 years, and I slipped up on one.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
But anyway,
good.
My point is, it was like an abusive relationship because essentially they were fucking me, but I was also fucking them. And we were like, and that was the thing. I never asked. Well, no, that's not true. I did ask for a pay raise a few times. But I never pushed it because I didn't want them to push back on all the, what's the word I'm looking for? All the
ineptitudes.
No. All the, what's the word, kind of sneaky things that I was doing behind the scenes.
Yeah.
That if you really looked into my workflow, why are you writing a script?
Yeah,
why do you have your computer in your editing suite here?
Yeah.
Why are all these things, you know, like, you know, why did it take you so long?
If you pay peanuts, you get monkeys, right?
I guess.
And that's the thing. Like, they can't really push too much when they're giving you $18 an hour, when the minimum wage is about to go up to $18.90. You know, like, you can't expect too much. And the fact that you show up on time.
Yep.
And
not
you
always.
are there.
To be fair.
Well, the fact that you're there, genuinely.
Yeah, I'm there.
You know, that's
I'm
pretty
literally
good for $18 an hour.
a warm body.
And you're in the room for $18 an hour. That's pretty fair.
See no evil.
Hear no evil.
Speak no evil.
Speak no evil.
And so that's the kind of agreement that we had. And it did get me in quite a reflective mood because I was like, man, that's such a long time to work at a job. And for such a terrible job.
Yeah. Well, I have been saying for a long time that we need to get rid of that one.
And I was so poor for so long doing that job.
Yeah.
But I think I can't be mad because it did afford me the opportunity to make 2 feature films, 2 web series.
Well, I don't know if you can really say that this job alone was really responsible for all of that. I feel like if you had quit 5 years ago and you're working somewhere else, you know, you might have actually had just as much time because you would have got paid more per hour.
I would only...
We're speculating.
Yeah, I don't think so because essentially I'd have to get paid double what I did, you know, at that time, 5 years ago,
to have half as much time again.
To have half as much time to then be able to just invest that. Yeah. And I don't think that was...
There are other jobs where you can do things. Like, for example, a few of my jobs are situations where you could write a script if you, you know, like if you wanted to.
But can you get out your laptop and your hard drive and start editing away?
Like, literally, yes, depending on which position it is. So it depends which job it is. I've got a lot of jobs, but it depends which job it is. But there are a few where you could literally bring, like, a laptop and a hard drive and set it up, and it wouldn't be a problem.
So I think that really
But you'd have to wear headphones.
Yeah.
So which that'd be an issue. You'd have to edit
Yeah.
the audio with maybe you'd have to edit the audio with one ear in
Yeah.
and one ear out, and you'd have to multitask.
Yeah, so I've mastered the one ear in, one ear out strategy. It's a good one. It's a keeper. In fact, I upgraded my one ear in, one ear out by
To
buying
2 ears.
by buying a little Bluetooth one.
Yeah.
So I didn't have to connect a cable to anything. I just
just
pop it in my ear and just do. I'm working.
Yeah,
I'm a worker. I'm a worker bee.
Yeah.
So
Much
anyway,
less conspicuous.
the end of an era. You know, there is a legitimate possibility I will be back there in 6 months, cap in hand.
Nah, you won't be. You won't be. Absolutely not. The gap in your life is going to be filled with more lucrative things.
But I don't know. But they will definitely. I still think that is a possibility. But it's the end of an era. I'm done. I'm out of there. And I just wanted to kind of mark that on the podcast.
Yeah.
7.5 years. And the only real negative...
So does that mean you're like full-time contractor now? Like you're not
Yes.
staff anywhere?
Well, no, I'm staff as a
teacher.
teacher.
Okay,
Yeah. Yes. The only negative, because someone did also send me a very disturbing health study on people that had
Work
graveyard
nights.
shifts. Yeah. Basically shortens your life by like... a lot.
Yeah.
And you're more susceptible to everything.
Yeah.
So, you know, but to be honest, I start pretty fucking late at home as well.
Yeah.
But not 7 a.m. late.
No.
So anyway, yeah, the only real negative I can see is the physical toll that it has taken. Because if you saw me at the start of my working there, and you saw me now, I would liken it to that kid in It who stares at the deadlights for too long and everything goes grey.
Haven't seen that.
Well, that's me. So that's what happens. That's the 7. So the physical toll, yeah, maybe not so great. The financial toll, yeah, that was really not great either.
Yeah.
But the creative freedom, well, that was gold.
Well, I hope so. I guess there was a lot of stuff that got done.
Oh, is it? Everything got done.
So it's the new year. This is the first episode of 2020.
Happy 2020 to all our listeners.
Our last episode was before Christmas.
Right.
So that was a wee while ago.
It was a little while ago.
Predictably, 2020 began with hellfire and war.
Mm-hmm.
You might have noticed.
Yep.
The other day, the skies themselves turned blood orange to herald the year of Trump's ascension to greater demon.
Mm-hmm.
Where were you when the skies turned orange? See, I don't know if international listeners know about this, but the skies turned orange in Auckland recently because of the Australian bushfires across the Tasman, which was all quite surreal, you know, to be in this city that's all orange and people are all tweeting and so on about how orange it is and all that stuff. And what we're seeing is the devastation wrought, affected largely and influenced by climate change across the Tasman. And here we are. And I mean, I don't know about you, but you know what I did that day? I went to work, did some Facebooking probably.
Yep.
Nothing much changed, you know. Where were you?
So
What were you doing? When did you notice it? I noticed it. I was just pulling into work and I was like, it's like dusk. And then I was like, wait a minute, it's not fucking dusk. I was like, I'm fucking late. But it wasn't dusk. And then I was like, oh shit, it must be from the fires.
So it was about 1 p.m. in the afternoon, or maybe a little bit earlier. I was editing Immi The Vegan, which I'm sure we'll get into a little bit later.
Our new web series.
And I looked at, and it just started getting darker and darker. And I was like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
Why is it so dark? And then I looked out the window and I was like, man, I've been editing too long because my eyes are all fucked up. I've been seeing, like, it looks like I've got it legitimately looked like you had sunglasses on, except you didn't.
You didn't, yeah. It was a crazy orange glow. All the light was orange.
And there was way less light.
And if you saw a white light, it looked extra white, like a white street light or something like that. It looked extra white but it wasn't affecting the light around it. So it was just this beacon of white light and otherwise everything around it was orange. So it was almost like that white light had no influence at all because everything was so orange. And I remember thinking, I wonder why Isaac isn't outside. Isaac, our DP,
Yes.
why isn't he out? I saw him inside and I was like, why isn't he outside, like, shooting something or getting some photos or something?
Well, that's kind of, I did have that thought.
I
So
thought about you too. If a guy was shooting older now, guy would run outside with a camera and get some
100%.
shots of him looking moody in this weird orange light.
100%. Although, so there's two things about that. So I definitely, it took me a while to kind of click, and then I was like, nah, that's just fucked. And I was like, and then I went outside and I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
And then I did click because someone had mentioned to me, have you seen the results of the fires in Australia?
Yeah.
And prior to that, I hadn't. So I sort of knew what they were talking about.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, that's totally fucked up. And then I was like, that's really scary. There's actually a zombie film, and I can't remember the fucking name of it. I'm going to look it up later. Which they basically put this kind of filter on the whole thing because the idea is
that it's set in Mexico.
That some comets, in fact, it's called Night of the Comet, I believe.
Right.
And the idea is that these asteroids have crashed and left this kind of haze around the city of LA, and so they put these orange tinted filters on all their shots outside, and it looked exactly like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, this is some post-apocalyptic shit right here.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I was like, man, if I had something like to film, I should really do it right now.
Yeah.
And I was like, but I have nothing.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, this is exactly what it'll look like next time too, except the ash in the clouds will be radioactive, and we'll all be tweeting #PrayForCanberra. That'll be next time. And it'll be just as surreal.
What pray for Canberra? Why pray for Canberra?
Well, because they would have nuked it. Somebody would have nuked it.
Right.
Yeah, so next time it'll be just like this, and we'll all be witnessing it together and tweeting about it.
Yeah.
Except for the ash in the clouds will be radioactive, and we'll all be tweeting #PrayForCanberra because it's just across the ditch there. And it's quite possible in a nuclear war, if they didn't hit New Zealand, that they would hit Canberra.
Yeah.
That is the capital.
Is it?
Yeah.
I thought Sydney was the capital.
Mate, you're literally born there. Fucking...
Never mention that again.
I told you, Harley, there was one rule on the show. You must never bring up my heritage. My Australian roots.
Look, just for the record, now that it's been fucking exposed... Yes, I was born in Australia. I have no affiliation.
I don't even know what the capital is.
I don't even know what the capital is. And what basically happened is I was born there. We spent some time there and we moved to England, and then we moved back to New Zealand basically before I could fucking speak. So don't get in my ear about that Australian accent. Don't give me all that yap about that Australian accent. Because I'm not fucking having it. Yeah. All right? And I'm not having, you're actually an Aussie, mate. No, I'm fucking not. I'm a Kiwi through and through.
Yeah.
Fuck's sake, Harley.
Yeah. Well, it's important not to get those two things mixed up.
I don't bring up the venereal diseases that you might have had or have had or are having.
It is on a par. It is on a par.
That's what I'm saying.
It is on a par. To find out you're Australian or find out you have AIDS is similar.
Yeah, so that's the issue there. But shout out to my sister who does not listen to the podcast, but she is over there.
None of our families listen to it. The only family member I have that listens is Huda Moss.
Well,
shout out Huda. He went back to episode 50 and he also sent us some beer money one time. If you know wants to send us some beer money, go to paypal.com and just all you need is the email address pigvilleproductions@gmail.com and you can sponsor us some beers for the next episode.
I will say my mum listens quite often.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Shout out Mrs. P.
And my sister, my other sister does.
Okay, my mum was like... Now, my mum's very easygoing, and I tell her everything about all the crazy shit in my life anyway. But she was like, well, I don't know if you're, comfortable listening to you talk about that type of stuff, Harley. And I guess she's referring to, like, the sex things and the sex stuff I talk about.
What did you say last week? Can you just refresh? Let's just see why your mum may be uncomfortable listening to this podcast.
Well, I mean, I did last week we did talk about how a young lady had messaged you about, messaged me about how hot you are.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm a handsome man. Thank
you. Yeah. And I was like, well, what the fuck am I? Fucking chopped liver, you know what I mean? Like, why the fuck, why are you telling me this, you know? You know, especially because I'm single and you're not.
Yeah.
So it's
I have
like,
a girlfriend.
why are you sliding into my DMs, attractive woman, to tell me that guy is hot, you know? And in the last episode, we made a lot of great jokes about that. Go back and listen to it. It's called Santa's Big Red Sack, and it's episode 152. It's our Christmas one. Yeah. So anyway, I sent that episode to the young lady that we were talking about last week. Yeah. Not really, you know, just as a joke, you know, just for fun. You know, I mean, I didn't, you know, I mean, it's a questionable strategy, admittedly. You know, I mean, like, if I was actually trying to seduce this person, it's a very questionable strategy to send them the episode of the podcast. But, you know, I did it anyway, because in the dating world, chaos is not a pit. It's a ladder. Right? So she said, she listened to it, and she said she loved us guys, but fuck us guys. And that fair. And that she ugly laughed while she listened to it, which is great, because that's our goal, to get you all out there ugly laughing.
Yeah, I think that's a very good description of what this podcast sets out to do.
Yes, but I mean, what did I say last week? There was some stuff along the lines of, like, she had some daddy issues, and there was this idea that perhaps I could help her get over her daddy issues by being terrible in bed, but sleeping with her, but being terrible in bed. Yeah. You know, because I'm a daddy, basically. Yes. That was the gist of it, you know.
Well, what did you say more specifically?
I believe I said that I'd give her the lackluster thruster of my semi-soft grandfather cock before meekly ejaculating, and then farting and falling asleep. It was something to that effect.
So
something to, and then you were like, yeah, well, she would be like, thank you, I'm really over this daddy thing now. I've worked it out of my system, and all is, you know, thank you, Harley.
And that's why your mum doesn't listen.
and that's why my mum doesn't listen, but your mum does.
But my mum is stuck, unfortunately, caught in this horrific exchange. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what else we got on? Really, that was my big news. That 7.5 year thing, that was a real doozy for me.
Yeah.
7.5 years.
Well, I mean, a couple of shout outs.
Okay.
We'll get into some shout outs. Wanted to shout out to Jason P. Diddy Combs, a long-time listener.
Yep.
He sent me a comic when I was in America called Simon Says. It's about a Jew that survived the death camps and in a post-war world is hunting down Nazi war criminals.
Yeah.
And it was good, and I read it, and it was signed by the creator of it. It was one of his mates, and he knows that I'm a fan because of this podcast. He knows that I'm a fan of World War II, and so he organised for that to be sent to me to my Airbnb over there, which was with, as mentioned in a previous episode, a beautiful 420 friendly Asian woman. She was really lovely too, by the way. Now, Jason Combs also set me up to meet with a guy called Tom who works at Disney and Fox, and we just had a beer, like a networking beer, just a say good day beer, really. And so we just sat and had a beer, and so that was really good. So shout out to Jason. Now, that meeting that I had did actually make me late for another meeting I had, which was with a beautiful Taiwanese practical effects woman that I met at the Carousel Cocktails night. It was important. It was an important part of older and selling older and that type of
practical
thing.
Effects.
Practical effects.
You wanted to show her your practical effect.
No, it was so we met. And so so she was a beautiful Taiwanese practical effects artist, and her name was Star Shining. Star Shining. So shout out to Star Shining. She's definitely not listening. But anyway, we went for a lovely walk along the Santa Monica Pier at sunset. And alas, while the setting was right, no romance blossomed.
I see. Yeah, well, yes, that really seems like a superfluous meeting, Harley. But
well, technically they both were, because even the guy that I was meeting with, it wasn't really in any way, he couldn't really help me with older per se.
No.
You know, it was more just general.
But for a future
chit-chat.
Disney deal.
Well, exactly. It was just general kind of networking. But hey, you never know when I'm going to need a beautiful Taiwanese practical effects artist.
Yeah.
For one of our productions.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
It's not... yeah, I don't know. So, yes, anyway, that was good fun.
We got a message. Something happened.
Something happened, yeah. I don't know what it was. Things don't normally make noises on my computer. So, anyway, went to the new gym.
Yeah.
Your gym.
Yep. I saw you there.
Yeah, I joined a new gym the other day, right? And it's a gym you've been going to for years. And we unexpectedly bumped into each other there. And when you first saw me, were you like... Because you weren't expecting to see me.
No.
Right? You know, there was no plan or anything like that. I just recently joined. When you first saw me there in my singlet, were you like, who is that hairy, smelly-looking homeless man in my gym? It's my best friend.
No, I was like...
Well, he's not really exercising.
It was the other way round. I was like, there's Harley. Man, he looks like a smelly, homeless, hairy...
A hairy, smelly, homeless man.
And what is he doing in my gym? But no, I clocked it. I know that hair anywhere.
Yeah.
You know, this is the thing. Like, I think sometimes you don't think about this, Harley.
Yeah.
But like, for instance, when I was editing the zombie film, and when I'm editing Immi the Vegan, like now, I look at your face for 12 hours a day.
Yeah.
I literally just look at your fucking face.
That's what you do.
Or, like, if
That's
there's a scene where you take your top off,
you just look at
I'm looking at your hairy shoulders and analysing it. So I know it all too well, mate.
Yeah.
I know it all too well.
Right.
In fact, yes, speaking of editing Immi the Vegan, we should just mention the personal hell that I'm going through right now doing that.
Yeah.
What I've realised is that
Yeah. Oh, what the fuck am I mean?
I'm too old for this shit.
Yeah.
I'm too old to be an editor. That's basically what this editing experience has been, because when you're in your 20s and you're full of enthusiasm, you're like, I don't care about sitting at a desk for 10 or 12 hours. I don't care about searching for 3 hours for one stupid fucking sound effect that's going to take 1 second of thing. I'm doing it all. I love life. Everything's great. And then, obviously, when you're 36, you're like, why the fuck am I doing this shit? Surely I've reached a point where someone I can pass the baton and someone can take care of this for me, and yet here we are.
Yeah.
So
that baton is in your
that
butt.
Baton is up
It's
my
a pain
ass.
in your butt. It's a baton.
That baton is wedged uncomfortably, and every time I move as I try and edit, it reminds me of the pain that I'm going through. So yes, I'm editing Immi the Vegan at the moment, and look, from a perspective of like production values and like it's very unproblematic. You know, I'm looking at this footage and I'm like, cool, we shot the thing. What we needed to get, we got. You know, whereas, you know, some of the other projects we've worked on, I'm like, man, we're fucked. We've got nothing. We didn't have time. We didn't shoot any of it. But in this one, I kind of don't feel like that. It's all there, but then you got to put it together. And especially this has a lot of music and musical interludes. So essentially you're creating music videos within short films, within web series. And it's really quite a fucking lot. And you know, as I said, we had this discussion off air. I don't think we had it on air. But essentially there's like 60 minutes of footage, which is half a feature film. And I'm trying to edit half a feature film.
It's really 2/3 of a feature film.
Yeah, if you think about it.
If a feature film is 90 minutes.
Well, I'm saying 120 when you start with the rough cut. But either way, it's a lot. And people are like, why isn't it in the video? Where is it? Why isn't it out? Well, I don't know, because I'm editing half a fucking feature film. And the only reason I have time for this is because I'm on my holiday. And I'm spending 12 hours a day of my holiday doing it. That's the only fucking reason that it's even getting done. And why am I ranting and rambling about this? Well, just because it's on my mind.
Right.
Got a lot of editing going on.
Yeah.
And I'm not liking it.
Well, that's good, and it's looking good. It is looking good. It's looking very promising. So there's rough cuts of 4 of the 5 episodes at the moment, right?
Yes. Well,
so that's pretty good. We're looking promising.
5 of the 4. because 1 became 2
Right.
because it was so freaking long.
Yeah.
I was like, why is this? I was like, I've been spending so long on this episode. Why is it taking so long? What the fuck is going on? And then I realized it's because it was 18 minutes. And I was like, 16 minutes.
Yeah. So you chop it in half.
Yeah.
Shout out to Josh Frost78, who's now hosting us on the live stream. What a good card. Thank you. I don't know what that it means. That we're now playing out on his channel too. I don't know how many followers he has, but thanks, Josh.
Thank you, Josh.
Now the good thing about this new gym that I'm going to, right?
Yeah.
Is that it's between a cafe and a pub.
It is actually in a great location.
It's literally directly between a cafe and a pub. There's actually an ice cream place as well, and a cider place. Literally a bar that sells cider, and another place that sells chicken. And the bloody gym is directly between all of this, right?
Oh, it's amazing.
It's amazing. So if I'm working out in the morning, I can just pop next door afterwards. Exactly, and just reward myself with like a tequila. And then, if it's the evening, I can grab a coffee at the next door, you know? So that's actually what happened the other day. I went to the gym for 15 minutes, and then I nipped next door for an iced latte, and then after that I went next door and drank 2 Hoegaardens, and then I stopped at the chip shop on the way home. So I'm really starting to see results.
Really ticking all those boxes.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, my first thought when I saw you at the gym, I was like, he finally did it.
Yeah.
He's finally going to exercise like a fucking normal person
Well,
who's in his 30s.
To be fair, I exercise very regularly when I don't have a severe herniated disc that's pressing against my sciatic nerve. But I did work out very regularly when I lived at the previous house.
I really feel like you didn't.
No, but I did. You just didn't know. I
Well,
really did. I went like 3 to 5 times a week.
Yeah, but for like 15 to 20 minutes.
No, for like, say 20 to 40 minutes is probably more realistic. And it was often an hour. And I didn't go hard, but the thing was that I was in good shape. It was fine. Like I looked good. I felt good. My muscles were strong. And it was just, the trick was just doing light exercise basically every day or most days. That was the real trick. And it worked. And I'm trying to do the same thing, but now my gym's just a little bit further away, which sort of sucks a little bit more.
Yeah, it's gone from a 1-minute walk to a 5-minute walk.
Yeah, well, so it's 5 times as far away.
That's true.
That's
true.
Now, near my house as well, there's a lovely little...
That gym could not be fucking closer to here.
Well, it could be.
I mean, it could be, but it's fucking close.
It's pretty close. Yeah. Well, I went today. I went yesterday. I'm back on the wagon. That's the thing about my back, right? Is that it is finally starting to get better. I'm not at 100%, but I'm getting there, and I'm improving definitely. But it's been a long and tiresome journey. Now, Christmas Day.
Yeah.
I went to your place.
You did.
It was an orphan's Christmas.
Yep.
You and the missus, Tisha, put on a lovely feast.
Yep.
And we had a barbecue in the afternoon. We drank some gins and tonics, amongst other things. And then we had a roast chicken in the evening.
I fucked up the potatoes.
Did you? What happened? What was wrong with them?
They're meant to be roast potatoes.
Yeah.
And I've smashed them up too much, and they became like kind of mashed roast potatoes.
Oh, I don't remember it being an issue.
They were tasty, but it was a big fucking fail on my behalf. I'm never gonna live it down till next Christmas.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I may have the opportunity to redeem myself,
Well-
but hopefully not, because hopefully I'll have a fucking family.
Oh, it's not. You have a family?
Yeah, I'll go to my family. Not I'll have a family.
You'll have a
God
family?
forbid. God forbid I have a family.
Yeah, she's listening. Yeah, well, so that was good fun. And we had a few other friends around. And then New Year's Eve. What'd you do on New Year's Eve?
Well, I messaged you, and you're like, oh, yeah, I might catch up with you later.
Yeah.
And then I didn't hear from you.
No, well, I worked until 9 p.m. I'd already been working for 5 days in a row or something like that, and I had like 17 more days in a row after that lined up or something. Nine more days after that lined up. It was going to be 17 days total. So and my back was sore, and I was like, well, you know what I'm going to do this year? I'm going to enter the new year by being productive. So on New Year's Eve, I went out and I bought a big new desk. And I bought a second monitor, and I bought these things in order to make the podcast, and in particular the live stream, better. And just to make the podcast easier to run, because it's kind of difficult to do. You've got like fucking 5 different things open, all on one screen, right? So I was like, all right, I'm going to do that. So I bought a flat pack desk, and I was like, when I get home from work, I'm going to see in the new year building a desk. And that's what I did. I'm all on my lonesome. I spent New Year's Eve crying on the floor with my head inside a half-built drawer. That was my New Year's.
Go into New Year's the way you intend to finish it.
Yeah, just crying in a drawer.
crying
on the floor with my head in a half-built drawer.
Crying in a fetal position under your desk.
Yeah. Well, my desk wasn't even built. I didn't even have a desk. I literally only had a drawer to climb inside as I built it.
Yeah.
But my new desk is very good. That's good. And so I entered the new year being productive, basically. But it was pretty lame. Like at 11:59, I walked outside and I couldn't even see the fireworks. At my old houses, I was always able to at least see the fireworks from the Sky Tower. I had nothing. All I had was just I could see some flashes. I could hear some booming.
You could hear some people having a good time.
I could hear people enjoying life.
And you knew, and you weren't a part of that.
And then here was me, my isolation complete. My flatmate was gone. My flatmate was away, so I was
having fun at a party or something.
Yeah, he was away out of the city, and I was just all on my lonesome.
Yeah,
just building a desk for you guys. It's all for the listeners, really. I was like, I want to get this stream awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So I was like, I'm going to
stream it all over your face.
Productive entry to the year 2020. But I haven't thought of any good like social media updates. I haven't posted anything and been like, hey guys, so my word for 2020 is, or anything.
Well, what is your word?
I don't have one. This is the fucking problem, man. I got my fucking word for 2020 is just fucking survive.
Yeah.
All right. Just get through it.
To be fair, I feel like that was one of my words, but for a few years ago. So
probably
I'm not a hater.
Here. Yeah, he's still here. Well, today will be yesterday. So all you got to do is get through tonight, right? So it's the same with this year. Just get through it. I think that the issue is I don't have any specific direction that I can really think of yet. So the first year was hustle because I thought I was moving to LA. That didn't work out, but I did hustle. The second year, 2018, was monetize. I was like, well, shit, I can't really hustle unless I can monetize this. And I was like, I need to build my passive income and I need to like quit my salary position and kind of like turn this into a business a bit more. And so that went really well as well. And then my word for 2019 was momentum, but it was kind of momentum kind of combined with like consolidate. It was kind of this idea that I just wanted to get my my freelance career up and running, ready to rock, and kind of ticking over and concentrate on that for a little while in order to have my finances all in order so that I can kind of like launch. So I sort of thought that 2020 could be like launch, it's kind of like you kind of, all right, now's the time to go, like Older comes out, Immi The Vegan comes out, whatever else happens, and kind of like basically
Glimpses comes out. Let's just throw it in there.
And so this idea that, all right, 2020 is going to be the year where we actually like take off,
Yeah.
And that I still think there's something to that, but I'm also a bit like, fuck it.
I don't give a fuck about words anymore.
I don't give a shit. I'm a bit like,
I hate words.
No, just fuck everything, really.
I don't care. I'm giving up on life.
I'm
drifting.
I'm drifting, and I'm like George Carlin now. I'm just watching the end of the world as an observer, but I'm impartial. I'm just going to watch it, and there's just nothing I can do about it, and I'll just drift listlessly through life and see what happens.
I see a lot of George Costanza in you. I've been watching the old. I've been watching Seinfeld. So my girlfriend, bless, I sort of reminded her about Seinfeld.
Yeah.
I was like, Friends kind of fucking sucks if you rewatch it. Seinfeld.
Oh, that's a big call. I mean, like, I still think it's good.
I stand by my.
I still think it's good. I like it. I mean, it hasn't aged as well as Seinfeld. Like, Seinfeld, I think, has aged better. But
I was like,
it's still good.
I was like, you watch Seinfeld. It's literally 20 years old. Fucking gold. Like, everything. Like, the only thing that is outdated is the technology. Every other thing is amazing. The humor is so good. It was such a seminal show. And I remember when it first came out and talking about the last couple of seasons at high school with you. But it's just probably one of maybe the best sitcom of all time. And anyway, so she started watching it again. And I kept getting sucked in, like, you know, whether I'm meant to be editing or whatever, because it's so fucking funny and it's so good. But anyway, there's George just flipping out over everything. And I'm like, there's Harley.
Yeah.
There's Harley. And I think my girlfriend may have made that observation as well.
We really need to make a little skit. It's essentially a Guy and Harley skit, a Guy and Harley show. It'll be very simple. And it's you and me playing George and Jerry.
Yeah.
And that's it. And we've already written it. And there's actually a few others that we could shoot at the same time and just cut them. That'd be very simple. Very simple. It's just you and me talking in, and we run through the script, which already exists, where I'm playing George and you're playing Jerry. And it'll be very simple. I think that'd be good fun. So I would really like to do that. So yes, I definitely agree. There's definitely some George Costanza in me. And I do remember when my agent told me to start going for George Costanza type roles. We talked about it on this show. They said that I should maybe gear myself towards some Costanza type roles. They literally used George Costanza as an example of the person that I could follow in terms of like career.
Successful bald actor.
Successful short bald actor. Short bald comedic actor. Yeah.
Well, look, again, you know, back to Immi the Vegan. If that's you, Costanza up the place.
Yeah.
So you play the lead or one of the leads in Immi the Vegan, opposite Immi the Vegan, and we did talk a little bit about it.
Vegan herself.
We did talk a little bit about. I think we talked about on the podcast about how I didn't rein you in.
Right. Yeah.
I just let you go for it.
Yeah.
You know, so I remember on the zombie film, quite frequently, I'd be like, let's
bring it back.
Let's just bring it down a little bit.
You call it not reining me in. I call it not giving me any direction.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just letting me just do whatever happens.
Yeah. Whatever happens. And so, a couple of times I was like, is that a bit much? And I was like, you know what? Feels right. Let's roll with it.
Yeah.
And so basically now I'm seeing all of this and I'm enjoying it. I think it's very funny. It's balls to the wall, so to speak. Your balls to the wall.
Yeah.
Your balls are to the wall. And, obviously the audience will be the judge, but I think it's could be one of your crowning achievements.
Well, I hope you're right because I really need that right now.
Yeah. And in fact,
I really fucking need that right now.
In fact, what I've been doing,
just anything to hang my hat on, really. Any port in a storm, just anything. I just need something. Just give me something.
And what I've been doing is I did pick out a shot of you pulling a funny facial, but I've kept doing that. So as I've been going through, I've been picking out all the times you pull a funny facial.
Okay.
And
that's good.
Maybe I'll give you them all and you can make a collage and it's basically like Harley Neville, actor, and then it'll just have all your
my variety
funny faces.
Yeah, well, that is quite funny. If I had those and I've had one where I looked sad and one where I looked happy or whatever, and it's like my variety of emotions available for hire. Happy, sad, angry, whatever.
Oh, it's genius.
Well, that's good. That is good to hear. And I don't know if any of the Sifty 150, Sexy 160 listeners chipped in for that with our crowdfunding campaign. But if you did, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
That is coming along. It is progressing. And just like Older, it's a very slow process, but it is coming together.
Oh, it's progressing all right.
Yeah. Well, it's getting there now. It is getting there.
It's fucking progressing all right.
Now, a few episodes back, you might recall there was a situation where I just moved into this new flat and I moved in, and late one night, I heard a bump in the night. I switched on the light.
Full moon.
And there was a full moon. Sitting on my floor, or squatting on my floor, was a fat-bottomed woman who I'd never met before, who was pissing on my floor, on my carpet, in my new house. I didn't know who this person was. I'd never seen her. Don't know her from a bar of soap. Don't know her from a bottle of piss. And so she was sitting there pissing on my floor, and I chased her out, and as I recall, I said it was not the first time I'd chased a piss-covered, fat-bottomed girl around my house at 3 a.m. But this one was weird because I didn't know her. And so anyway, she never apologized, and I never saw her again, right? And it was a bit weird. I kind of expected like some sort of acknowledgement.
Gotta
over the next few
acknowledge
days.
it.
Yeah, right? And so anyway, finally, an update. I saw the floor pisser. Okay, I came home from work, I walked into the lounge, and there she was, sitting on the couch in the exact same spot I left her last time, several months beforehand, only this time she wasn't just wearing some pissy panties. She had all her clothes on. And she was like, hey, and I was like, hey, and she was like, look, I'm sorry, you know? And I was like, it's cool, no problem, it's all good. I don't hold a grudge. That being said, now, no, she was there, right?
Yeah.
To have a drink with her mate, who's my flatmate.
Yeah.
Okay, so presumably she had just come from a liquor store or something like that.
Yeah.
No bottles of wine were forthcoming though, right? I mean, wouldn't that be standard practice? One time's bottle of wine for coming into my room in the middle of the night, terrifying me, pissing on my carpet, and then making me clean it up. $10 bottle of wine. Don't you think that's fair?
I do think that's fair.
You know?
There must be some recompensation.
Well, there's literally still piss particles in my carpet.
And I'm not talking about...
I sniff them all the time.
I'm not talking about sorries. I'm talking some tangible...
Beersies.
Exactly. And that so yes, that was a big oversight. I would have had backup beers just if on the odd chance I
pissed on somebody's floor.
If I bumped into you having done that.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you're coming around for the first time since the incident.
Look, I'm sorry. Yeah,
and you're
I don't give a fuck. You
coming
pissed on my
around
floor.
for a drink.
You could have made a big deal of that.
Yeah. Well, but that's not my style. It's not my style to make a big deal of it. Only to strangers in bakeries and stuff like that. I only fly off the hinge
at at pensioners who
I'm very
oblivious pensioners who don't know any better.
I'm very understanding as a general rule.
Hey, look, old man.
Well, like that time I had a fight with the guy that was trying to drive his motorbike across the pedestrian crossing, but. Yeah. So anyway, I was quite forgiving, but I mean, if she agreed to give me a bottle of wine every time she pissed on my floor, I would let her piss on my floor. That would save me a fucking fortune, right? If she gave me a bottle of wine, once a night she came and pissed on my carpet.
Well,
what I would do is I'd take the rubber sheet off my bed, and I'd just put it on the floor.
Well, you'd have to. Yeah, I was gonna say you'd have to get to the piss quickly.
Yeah. No, I'd put the rubber sheet on the floor first.
Yeah.
Buy myself a new one.
I'm disappointed in that story.
Yeah. Well, I mean, why? Because I didn't blow her up. Because I didn't fly off the fucking handle.
No, I'm disappointed in her
for not providing a bottle of wine. It does seem like that's the thing you would do. What do the listeners think? I mean, if you pissed on somebody's floor in your sleep one night, would you show up with a bottle of wine and say "soz"?
Speaking of etiquette,
piss etiquette.
I'm a Trade Me wheeler and dealer.
Yeah.
I spend a lot of my time on Trade Me.
Yeah.
If I'm not doing actual work like editing, you best believe I'm looking at deals on Trade Me.
Yeah.
And anyway, in this instance, we've gone a bit orange, by the way. We look like the
well, we look even. Yeah, it wasn't as orange. It was even more orange than that.
We look like what it looked like when the fires of Australia's smoke was over our heads.
It was much worse than this.
But anyway, so I had a Trade Me altercation the other day.
Yeah.
I bought an expensive lens, and I was duped. There was a piece of dirt or fungus on the inside of the glass.
Yeah.
And so I got into a dispute with the man.
Yeah.
And again, we're talking about etiquette. This guy tried to absolve himself of blame, and he tried to sort of deny, and then I kept harassing him and basically bullied him into, well, I don't know, I've yet to get my money back.
Yeah.
But basically he was like, there's no problems, bro. Like, what are you talking about? And it's like, there's a fucking problem with your lens. Your lens is fucked. And you didn't tell me. That's called misrepresenting what you're selling. And so anyway, we had this back and forth. Classic millennial. brought in mental problems to it.
Yeah.
Started talking about his mental problems.
Right, classic millennial, always playing
Oh
the
yeah,
sympathy card.
boo-hoo, you got mental problems.
Oh, boo-hoo, the world's ending and you were born into it.
Boo-hoo. Climate change is real.
Oh, and you've got to die because of it.
Oh, cry me a river. So anyway, but I was like, look, mate, you're confusing your personal issues with your professional responsibilities.
Yeah.
So don't come at me with all this, I got mental problems, I need it for my family.
Yeah.
Don't come up with all that.
Yeah.
Don't sell me a fungusy lens.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just fucking...
We don't care if you're a fat perv with mental problems. Just...
What is that from?
Lord of the Rings, your was one of your lines from the Lord of the Calling
right.
of the Ring. He's a fat. Like I'm
Oh,
going
he's a
on.
fat
I'm going
perv.
on about what a perv Gollum must be because he just jerked off into my
Oh
face.
yeah, we get it, Mr.
When
Frodo.
in reality,
It was
it's Sam
Sam.
that's put on the ring and jerked off into my face while I was sleeping.
That's right.
But I think it's Frodo. But I think it's Gollum.
Yeah.
And I'm saying what a disgusting perv he
Humour
must
me.
be. And then Sam says, "All right, Mr. Frodo, we get it. He's dirty. He's a dirty fat perv with mental problems. No need to dwell on it." You go back and listen to that. Go back and watch The Calling of the Ring Pigville on YouTube. You'll love it. There's 4 episodes. Brilliant stuff. Literally the best parody of Lord of the Rings that's ever been made.
Yes, well, speaking of that, our friend Tyler Adams, who does visual effects for us from time to time, is working on some new visual effects for us.
Yeah.
At the moment for Immi The Vegan.
Yeah.
But he also did pitch to us that he could do all sorts of crazy, awesome visual effects stuff if we wanted to kind of base a skit around one of these things.
Around some sort of VFX stuff.
Yeah, like some massive VFX thing.
Yeah.
So that's something that we got to...
Well,
I did actually
essentially
think...
the idea you're looking for is like the Super Saiyan shit, where it was like where I
Super Saiyan.
I turned Super Saiyan while I'm taking a shit, and it required a whole bunch of VFX.
Yeah, something like that. Although I did consider pitching him, but I knew that it would be too much.
The Super Saiyan come.
No,
That's what the sequel should
would be another Calling of the Ring where we run into Gollum.
Yeah, which we need.
And he literally makes Gollum.
Yeah.
As his visual effect. Like, it's actually fucking Gollum. But it would be too much because it would take so long to keep doing. Like, it couldn't just be... Because, you know, the whole idea is we'd interact with Gollum. And Gollum would be like a character from then on.
Yeah.
So I didn't. But that would have been...
I think we should do another Calling of the Ring, but we should keep the next one simple. Warm into it. It's just what's happened after the spider. Where have they gone? What's happened and where are they going? And just kind of keep it simple. It's like a simple beside the fireplace type scene. You know, something simple. And then work our way up to meeting Gollum and all that stuff.
Well, you know, look, I'm not against filming stuff. I'm against editing it.
Yeah.
That's
that's fine. We'll worry about editing we'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
We've said
the
that too.
The first trick is to shoot it. The most important thing is to shoot it.
We've said that too many times.
Yeah, it's not going to work again.
We'll worry about it. We'll worry about the post stuff at the end. The most important thing is to shoot it. It's true. That is an absolute true statement. You got to get it in the can.
Exactly. If we didn't have that mentality, we wouldn't have Immi the Vegan.
Yeah.
Or other things like it.
Oh, a million things. Pretty much everything.
Pretty much everything.
But unfortunately, I've also edited everything.
Yeah. Yeah, but the thing is that we are growing. We are becoming bigger and bigger.
Swelling.
Stars.
We're becoming engorged.
We're engorging. So we're engorging at the moment.
Yeah.
So it will get
We're becoming bigger and more impressive to look at.
And when Older comes out and when Immi the Vegan comes out,
yeah,
it'll be fine. We won't have any issues finding editors. It'll be fine.
You know, I was talking to someone who does a bit of work for Viva La Dirt League.
Yeah. And
Viva La Dirt League are the most successful the most successful New Zealand sort of creators of internet content, you would probably say. In a sort of not like a fucking makeup tutorial or something like that. They make skits, they make comedy, they do all that stuff.
Content.
Anyway, they don't they've literally they've outsourced everything. So they actually don't really, like, they shoot everything, they write everything.
Yeah.
But like they have visual effects guys in like Germany doing visual effects for them, and they have editors editing for them and all that stuff.
Well, that is how you do it. That's how you do it. That's absolutely how you do it.
Outsourcing.
And then what happens is, in their case, they make enough money from this from their content that they can actually afford to pay people.
That's the dream.
That is the dream.
We're working really hard to try and pay people right now.
Yeah, basically. That was actually, they asked me what my dream was today. I did a sort of an interview. I did an interview for Sharesies, which is a website you can use to buy stock in New Zealand. If you're a New Zealander, you should get onto Sharesies and come onto the Guy and Harley podcast Facebook page. I'll give you a link. And if you sign up before the end of January, you get your first $10 free, and I get $5 for referring you. But it's really good. And today I did an interview with them about my investments and so on, and they asked me like what my goals were, why I would be interested in investing, and I was like, well, that's exactly why, because I want to build up a passive income and have my money working for me so that I can eventually create content full time. And that's kind of the dream, is to be able to just create content full time and afford to live.
Well, it is possible. There are people doing it everywhere.
Exactly. So we can do it, and we will do it. And I've got a related piece of feedback, and it's actually from Tyler Adams, the very person you just mentioned. Now, he says that, and I can't remember which episode he commented this on. It could have been one of our fighting episodes. He says, but it was a recent comment. He goes, High Top Films is a guy who makes short films, but his popularity is 200,000 followers. He uploads once or twice a month. He has over 300 Patreon supporters, earning over $800 a month. His main content is just critiquing pop culture content, mainly superhero stuff, and he doesn't upload all the time. He's popular for his love of Sam Raimi and his Spider-Man franchise. I think you guys could build a much bigger following with your humor, and doing parody content like the Lord of the Rings vids would be awesome. So that was his feedback, saying that we can and should do that and be able to do that. Well, you're right. We can and we will, and 2020 is the year for it, I reckon. 2020 should be the year where we professionalize our online stuff and monetize it a bit more. And I think we can, because we've already got the patreon.com/pigville, but also buying this new desk and stuff. I've also ordered a new webcam. We've got to get this live streaming shit popping off as well. So a few investments, but it'll happen this year, 2020, year of the Pigville.
I said that to you on New Year's. What did you reply to me?
I said, I hope
from underneath the desk, what did you reply to me?
While I was crying under the desk, I said, I hope you're right, chum.
That was it.
No, there was maybe it was a Happy New Year. I hope you're right, chum.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, well, it was 2 a.m. and I was like, I had actually gotten in bed by then.
Oh, right.
At the end of a depressing, beginning to the new fucking decade. And then I received that text from you, and I was like, oh, I better reply. But I wasn't exactly feeling like fucking old chipper, I wasn't feeling like, yeah, mate, 2020 is the year. We're going to do it. I was like, oh, if you fucking say so, mate. The hunger's gone. This is why I didn't do that Marvel thing.
Man, I can't believe you didn't do that Marvel thing.
Fuck it.
I still think about that.
Yeah?
Yeah. And my girlfriend was like, what do you mean he didn't do the Marvel thing? Well, that's what I'm saying. You've got to understand, okay, this is your perspective, but what's the perspective of other people of what you're doing? You've got to take that into account when you measure it against your disenchantment with auditions.
Yeah.
You can't just really take your own opinion as the right.
Well, that's not why I didn't do it, though. If I had more time, I would have done it.
Yeah.
But it was like,
but it was a fucking Skype.
And it wasn't Skype. It was a self-tape.
Yeah.
So I'd have to create a tape and edit it and choose which take to use and all that shit.
I feel like that's better.
Well, it can be quite good. I have had a bit of luck. I have had a bit of luck with self-tapes.
Oh my god.
But yeah, I mean, look, I need a win. What I need is a win, okay? That's what I need. I need a win. I need a win because at the moment, I got nothing. Like it's all like little wins, and little wins are good, but I need something to remind me why, or to convince myself that I'm still good at this. Something like that, a success. You know, it's like, what's the last fucking thing that came out? Like, speaking of things coming out, we have got some new T-shirts that have just come out, and these are made exclusively for the podcast listeners.
Yeah.
And they are complete. I've ordered some for Guy and I to wear. We're going to take some photos and post them. In the meantime, they are actually available. I'll share them on the Guy and Harley podcast page. And so there's 4 different ones. One of them says Filthy 50. Another one says Hardy Hundy. Another one says Sifty 150. And another limited edition one says Sexy 160. So those are coming out. Those are out. They're ready to rock. And I just haven't shared the link yet, but I will. So yeah, go check those out.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, we've ordered some for ourselves.
Yeah, well, that's what we're going to do. We're going to do a photo shoot wearing them, in order to show you guys what they look like. But I think they're pretty cool. I really like them. So that's exciting news. And also, Older the movie is having its world premiere on the 28th of January in Germany. And
talking about wins.
That is, I guess, a win.
Would definitely feel like we were winning a lot more if we were there.
Well, that's the thing. If we were there, we would feel a lot more like we were winning. But it's going to have the world premiere after working on it for 6 years. It's going to have the world premiere without us there in Germany. I did email their media guy and say hey, if there's anything you need. And also, can you give us a better official selection, Laurel? Because
your Laurel sucks balls.
Well, the Laurel was like a JPEG that had a bit white background. And I was like, well, how do you put that over that? Hello, Mr. Bernie 001. Yes, we are live right now. And you're watching on YouTube. What a good cat. Make sure you hit thumbs up.
Also, what here? I mean, what are we? Photoshop specialists?
Well, that's the thing. I thought he was going to give me something that like a watermark type thing that you can just put over a poster, but that's not what he gave me. So I was like, okay, all right. Well, do you have this in a different format, kind of like see-through and stuff? And also, do you have any other media shit that if you want me to do an interview or a meeting or something? You know what I mean? What is there anything that I can help you with? Haven't heard back yet.
No replies.
No. Now, I did want to talk about, seeing as we're doing a bit of a filmmaking show. I mean, this is a filmmaking podcast.
This is a podcast about our lives.
Yeah. I did want to talk about how in America I did, there's a few things going on. One was that we never actually really had the chance to talk about the New Zealand Film Commission cocktail party. Right? We never actually really discussed it. It was something that I went to while I was over there, and it was very fruitful for me. Now, the Film Commission had this cocktail party, but the name was a bit misleading because it was actually a beer and wine only party, much to my chagrin. But by this stage in my trip, I was feeling pretty fucked at the time, and I was still on painkillers morning and night, and for my back, right, which was injured, and I was on my feet all day, and I wasn't sleeping very well on account of the jet lag. But nevertheless, after a 5 p.m. nap, after a hard day of Harley niveling, I dragged my sorry corpse out of bed because I knew it was important for me to attend this particular party for various networking meetings, and so it was for various networking reasons. Sorry, and this party was hosted by Kiwis, and it was a sort of a collection of Kiwis in LA. And so anyway, when I got out there, basically what happened was I hung out with a bunch of hungry New Zealand actors that had managed to get invited. They were all out there just fucking starving to death. Their ribs showing and shit like that, or these Kiwi actors trying to make it in Hollywood. And then they
gathered around the snacks.
Yeah. Well, I sort of there was a few other kind of more influential people there, but I didn't really get to talk to them because I was too busy being followed around the room by these hungry
hordes
actors. Like these irritating, harmless zombies. They were like, "You got any rolls, man? I got these cheeseburgers, man. I'll suck your dick, man." So anyway, I managed to ditch those guys, and I chatted to one person there's a couple. Serge Tankin was there. Serge Tankin, I think that's how you say his name. Do you know who that is?
No.
He's the lead singer from System of a Down.
Oh yeah.
Wake up, makeup.
Gotta do.
She wanted to. Whatever. So
Something trust in my
self-righteous
suicide. I cry when angels deserve to die.
So he was there.
Yep.
I rocked up and I said that to him.
Yep. How did he like that?
No, well, I didn't actually get the chance to talk to him.
Okay.
And he was hanging out with Reese Darby, so I was double intimidated because it was Serge and Reese hanging out together. Reese Darby, the New Zealand icon, Kiwi treasure. And so... but while I was there, I did get introduced to somebody by the name of Mark Ordesky, who's one of the producers of the original Lord of the Rings trilogy, and the guy that introduced Jackie Chan to the American market with Rumble in the Bronx back in 96 or 4.
That's actually a really... See, to me, the Jackie Chan thing is a more
earlier.
significant achievement than making Lord of the Rings.
Right.
Because that's how much I love Jackie Chan.
Yeah, well, you are a big fan of Jackie Chan.
It's true. I've got heaps of his like old films, like because he's also not only is he an amazing comic sort of kung fu artist, he's also an amazing director. I highly recommend his film Miracles. So if you haven't seen that film, which is not likely you have unless you're a Jackie Chan fan like me, Miracles, look it up. Good shit.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Well, so
introduced Jackie Chan to the world with Rumble in the Bronx.
He did, and he's a mover and shaker, a big deal. Go on IMDb him and see if you can find Mark Ordesky. I reckon you'll find him.
Yeah.
So he's a mover and shaker who could change our lives if he wanted to. And the way I met him was I got a glowing introduction from a sales agent who I knew, who then gave me this like glowing introduction and left us to it and said, "This is your time to shine." That was what he said before he left.
Yeah.
And the reason why I knew this guy was because I had
with your mouth full of his cum, you turn back round.
and I said, "This is it."
Thank you, sir.
I said, "Thanks so much." I said, "Yes, sir. Thank you, sir." No, so the reason why the sales agent introduced me at all was because I had organised through a mutual acquaintance in New Zealand to have a beer meeting with this guy at AFM when I first landed, and he was a really great guy, and he gave me lots of good tips, which I then actually used in my meeting. So I met him at the beginning of my trip, and I had a lot of really sort of. He gave me a lot of great tips. This random sales agent that I managed to kind of connect to via a random mutual acquaintance here in New Zealand. And of course, I paid for the beers. And so anyway, a few days later at the Film Commission beer and wine only party, he already knew me and my story, and so he gave me this effective like introduction, which was awesome. He said like, "This is Harley. This is the guy I was talking about, and take it away," type thing. So he walks away, and I'm standing there next to this guy. Who's even shorter and bolder than I am, and I have no idea who he is, and I'd kind of forgotten his name already, but I sensed from the hyped up introduction that this was somebody of some influence, right? So I gave him my spiel about all 3 of the projects that I was there with, and I was lucky because this was kind of towards the end of the trip after I'd already refined my pitch and stuff like that, so it was kind of ready to rock, and I focused mostly on trying to get funding for our next feature film, The Family. And so it went well, and he said, "Great, well, here's my card, email me the script." So now I've got his card, right? So of course I emailed him the next day, and I emailed him everything we have. He said email the script, but I didn't actually have a script for him.
We do now.
But it was lucky because I had actually also refined my email pitch through some recent finagling. I'd managed to send an email to Blumhouse about The Family, right? And so I already had this kind of draft written, so I just kind of changed it and sent it to him.
So Blumhouse got back to us?
No reply from Blumhouse. No reply from Blumhouse.
We should probably send him a follow-up.
No reply from... Well, the thing is, the issue is I don't have the email connection of the person at Blumhouse. What happened was...
It was a forward on a forward.
It was just one forward. It was just a forward from somebody at the Film Commission. Somebody high-ranking at the Film Commission. Somebody at the very, very, very top of the Film Commission.
Tippy top.
Forwarded this email for me to Blumhouse, but I had to send it to her first to be forwarded to that person. So I don't actually have the Blumhouse email, but I do have Mark Ordesky's email. Now it doesn't matter because neither Blumhouse nor Mark have replied. Right?
Yeah.
But now that we're heading into the new year, I'm going to follow up. And now that I've got a script, I'm going to be able to say I've got to have a reason to follow up. I can be like, hey, a polite and unobtrusive follow up. Here's the script we mentioned. By the way, we're heading into the new year. All sorts of exciting stuff. Here's the latest with Older. Give us a lot of money, please. So yeah, that's kind of that.
Cool. Well, let me know when Mark Ordesky is producing The Family for us. That'd be sweet.
Ordesky, yeah.
Tee that up. That'll be sweet.
That would be a classic Harley Neville. You go to LA, you bump into the producer of the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
You have no idea who the fuck he is.
You don't even know who this guy is, and you get $100,000 for your next feature film.
Yeah.
That's how you do it.
It is how you do
That's
it.
how you Harley Neville it.
It is how you do it.
Yeah.
Well, we better go.
All right.
Because I'm busting for a piss, but also
I'm kind of busting for a piss
I've got to get back to fucking Immi the Vegan.
Stop fucking Immi the Vegan.
No comment.
Well, you probably should have said something. Yeah, all right, cool. Well, all right, I guess we'll wrap it up. So if you've enjoyed the show, go along to patreon.com/pigville and you can support us there, because that would be awesome, because all that money is going to go towards making it that we can create content full time in the year 2020, and all of that stuff helps. And if we could afford to pay Guy to edit 1 day a week, well, that would solve a lot of problems, or whatever, to work.
Or if we could just pay someone else to edit.
Well, the problem is that nobody else is going to edit for $20 an hour.
God damn it!
It's you, mate. It's you. It's you. It's all you. It's always been you.
I hate this.
Yeah, but the difference
I'm
is
in purgatory. I'm in editing purgatory right now.
We can get rid of, potentially, some of your other jobs, because we're going to pay you to do, creating your own content. Just temporarily, until we start getting enough content out there that we can then get enough income online to start paying for people to do the editing. All right? You've just got to struggle through 5 to 10 more years, Guy. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm asking.
That's all we need to do.
5 to 10 more years of editing.
And we'll be all good.
That's all I'm asking.
Fuck.
Yeah.
I actually literally thought this when I was editing the other day. I was like, if there is a hell, this is what I do in hell. I edit something, but I never quite finish it. And I'm always looking for things that I don't have. And I'm just stuck doing that over and over. And every day I think, I'm like, I'm actually really close. I reckon I can get through it all today. I can get through all those scenes today. But every single day I never do. And in fact, I barely move the needle.
Yeah.
That's my life.
Yeah. Incremental increases. That's the incremental improvements. That's all it is. You just keep it up, buddy.
Fuck.
Just keep it up, buddy. 5 to 10 more years. You're going to be okay. Now, Mr. Bernie 001 did arrive a little bit too late to the party. It's Bernie, the writer-director of the cult classic feature film Killer Sofa, which I acted in, which did also help me when I was in LA. Yeah, and Bernie says that, hey, he feels your pain, Guy. He feels your pain, but someone has to do it. Harden the fuck up.
I think it's you, man. And that's the thing, like, in other words, some poor motherfucker's got to do it. And you're poor, so you might as well be that motherfucker.
Yeah.
And it's true, but I still don't like it. But also, Bernie, thank you for your advice. He's given us some good advice on sort of contracts and deals and stuff like that, and he also sent through a bunch of contracts.
So go check out Killer Sofa.
It's available
now on like Amazon and various others. Go check out your favorite streaming platform and search for Killer Sofa.
And in fact, Bernie, I do have a follow-up contract question that I will send you an email about shortly. But I hope all is going well on the new films that he's working on, and congratulations on the premiere of his last film that he just had, which is about INA, right? I don't know how to pronounce that.
INA, is that it?
I think that's...
I thought it had 4 characters.
4 letters?
Characters are letters, yeah. In the literate world, we do call letters characters.
Well,
Sometimes.
you also call them letters too.
Well, yeah, they do have. They do have 2 names. That's true. There is 2 words for that. Well, they call them characters and letters. That's true. No, you're absolutely right. Yeah, either way, we can share it on the Facebook page anyway, facebook.com/GuyandHarley. And we are going to keep on keeping on. Thank you very much for listening. Make sure you check out these t-shirts that I'm going to put on the Guy and Harley podcast page. That would be awesome. And we will be back soon. Hopefully it won't be too long. I've been working every single day since Boxing Day. And I'm working all month.
Well, I was about to say me too, but it's a lie. I did take New Year's Eve. I don't think I worked on New Year's Eve.
La-di-da.